Hey, this is Chris Jericho. Check out my new podcast, Talk is Jericho, with my first guest, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell yeah! Is there a bigger, better guest? I don't think so, and that's the bottom line. Download the first episode of Talk is Jericho at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place where two female comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey, little monsters. It's the Ask Women Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Kristen Carney, here with Marni Kinrys, the relationship expert and best-selling author. And, of course, our man of the show, Mo.
The big monster.
I like how nice you're being, man of the show, little monster.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a nickname for our listeners.
And then Little Monsters was the one you came up with?
Lady Gaga.
Little Monsters.
I don't know. Chickens? I don't know.
Hey, chickens. No.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Elves, because it's a holiday show.
That's true. Hello, elves.
How about our sexy men?
Yes, that's a better nickname.
I like that.
They are sexy.
Well,
men
I don't want to get their
show.
heads too big and
because then they'll stop listening to the show. Exactly. So elves.
We need to keep them low enough.
That's true.
Whoa, hold on.
True.
You little midget toy makers out there. That's what you're saying right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, welcome to the show. We have a lifestyle show today, specifically based around health and style, to help you guys look good for this holiday season, because there's going to be a lot of parties, there's going to be a lot of mingling, shopping in women's areas because you can, because it looks like you're shopping for your wife, but you can, all that kind of
segue that. Yeah, that's actually a really good tactic.
Yes, it is
for flirting with retail.
You know why
people.
I think of that is because Chevy Chase from Christmas Vacation, where he's in the department store looking at lingerie, and then he starts talking to the woman selling the lingerie, but he was actually looking for his wife. But then, anyway, it's a cheating thing. But don't cheat. Just go and just create conversation. Anyway, we have Goldie coming on in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, Goldie is awesome. So I've worked with Goldie for 6 years now, but she also works on her own. I met her 6 years ago at the PUA Summit, which I'm embarrassed to say, but at
what's a PUA Summit?
Pickup Artist Summit. So
wow.
I was the only woman there as a speaker, and she was the female stylist there. So she's worked with thousands of men around the world, helping them over Skype with their style. But she now works with MTV, with tons of celebrities. She used to work with Diane von Furstenberg. She's just like a miracle worker with fashion. I've had clients of mine who literally, when you see pictures of them at first, it looks like Bill Gates, and then after she's done, it looks like an Abercrombie model.
So it looks like someone who has a lot of money to someone who doesn't have that much money.
Absolutely.
Is she pretty hot?
A good style.
I'm glad she's...
she's super hot.
I'm glad she's
Filipino. She's sexy.
Ooh.
I'm glad she's calling in because I was a little bit nervous about what to wear today.
Oh, I'm always like that with her.
She was coming in. So.
No, she's calling in today. She's from New York.
Okay, good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's good. And then we also have somebody else for lifestyle. We have Rich Roller.
Rich Roll, yeah, health wellness advocate. He's going to be great. He also has his podcast as well.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell us a bit about that.
I like it. Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to talk about this movie that I saw last night. It's actually a good friend of mine who produced or helped produce this movie. Jill Howerton, who is married to Glenn Howerton from It's Sunny in Philadelphia. And she is part of a film that's called OMG GMO. And we watched it last night at the William Morris screening room, which was really fancy.
Super exclusive.
It was super exclusive. Lisa Bonet was there and Amy Smart. And anyway, I didn't talk to either of them, but still.
If they saw Mo coming, they would slam the doors.
No, they'd be like, who's that sexy bald guy?
Yes, that's exactly what they would say.
Happens all the time.
He eats GMOs for sure. So the movie was about GMOs and
tell our viewers what GMO is, because I had no idea what GMO was.
Well, that's what most people in the video or the movie as well in the beginning. He just interviews people asking, like, do you know what a GMO is? And they're like, I have no freaking idea what a GMO is.
It's something, like, if someone asked me, I would say it's something that someone at Whole Foods would
not want and
talk bad about.
Absolutely. Although, sadly, GMOs are very present at Whole Foods.
Really?
But they're going to start labeling. The whole thing is about labeling. So GMO is a genetically modified organism. And I don't want to start like preaching, but as I've said before, I've revealed that I do eat paleo. And the reason I eat paleo is because I went to a deficiency specialist about 2 years ago. And I did all this blood work and found that I was highly intolerant to a lot of foods, including all grains, dairy. They were were causing extreme amounts of inflammation in my body. And as soon as I cut them out, my mood changed, my skin got better. Everything within my body started working better. So I've been really curious and interested in food and realizing now what food does to your body.
If Mo ate that way, he'd become the Hulk or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd be like,
you would be like a rock star. It changes your sex life.
Does it really?
Yeah, my husband eats that way too now. And honestly, it transformed our sex life.
So you're saying it would change my blood flow?
Yep.
To full
it totally
flow?
would. Full flow.
Damn, I've only
Beast
been...
mode all the time.
Wow.
It would be insane. But so it was really interesting. And like, I think people should go see this movie just to be informed. And I'm not going to start preaching about things, but the thing is that everybody is, fighting to have GMOs labeled on their food, and this one company called Monsudo is fighting against it. They're trying to sue each state that wants to pass this legislation. So it's just about being aware of it. Like, you can eat GMOs, and it's not fine for you. It causes horrible inflammation that leads to cancer and all these other things. But the thing is that people want to have the choice to know whether or not they're putting these genetically modified organisms.
Not me. I'd rather not, because then you're expecting, if I know a GMOs and something I'm about to eat, I'm like, oh, I'm going to feel like shit, then therefore I will feel like shit. If I don't know, I'm like, oh my God, I just ate something at Whole Foods, I feel awesome, even though I have no idea I just consumed GMOs.
That's true. Psychologically, it psychs you out. Aw, we have Norm outside of our studio
Speaking of
right
psychologically being psyched out, Norm's here from PodcastOne.
Yes. And he's pretending to moon us, which is fantastic. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about this movie, and everybody should really go see this movie just to be educated. And plus, it's my friend's movie, so support her. And it's actually in the running to be nominated for an Academy Award. So it's really exciting, and you can be a part of something that will be an Academy Award winner, hopefully.
My friend did a piece. She works on The Daily Show. She's a producer there, and she did a piece on Monsudo.
Oh, she did?
She did. And they went and spoke to a lot of farmers that are being sued by them. And
yes.
I mean, it's really sickening.
It's sad.
For example, one of the things in their piece was this man has been sued because when a Monsudo truck, I don't know if I'm saying their name correctly. Monsudo,
yeah, I don't know how to say it either.
One of the trucks went by his land. Seeds came out from the truck, landed on his land, and started growing within his crops. They're suing him.
Because they have a patent on it. It's
because they have a patent on that seed.
I've seen
it's
that.
like, then they went into saying, can you patent air? Can you patent?
Well, apparently you can.
Right.
That's legislation that's been
They're taking it way too far.
And like a lot of what's happening too, anytime there's like a tornado or anything like that, or these winds that are blowing these seeds into other farmers' crops, then those plants are growing and these farmers are getting busted.
What's happening to your seed? It's just randomly getting blown.
I love that we're so political with this episode. Well, I want to get off of this topic. Not get off of the topic, but I want to stay on the topic of lifestyle and health. But yeah, it's a really good film to see. It's called OMG GMO. Go see it if it interests you, just to be educated a little bit.
I'm going to call Mo GMO. He's like bad. He shouldn't be in anything.
You're poisonous to us.
I want to know if I'm consuming it.
I taste so good, but I make you feel so bad after.
Exactly.
Oh, shut up.
But now on to things that are more exciting and important. We have a holiday gift guide for you because the holidays are coming up, or are right upon us, actually.
They are, and they're really hard for men. I mean, I know this just from having a brother, that every single year there's always a heavy box under the tree for me, my mother, and my sister. I mean, 3 different boxes, and I pick it up and I'm like, it's a Yankee Candle. I know it's going to smell like forest. It's like every year it's the same thing. But
like
one year he snuck in because I always make fun of him just for getting me a Yankee Candle. I'm like, first of all, I have to fly 3,000 miles. I don't feel like carrying around a 10-pound Yankee Candle.
Yeah.
But he put inside the candle a $100 bill.
Oh.
Which was, I'm like, okay, all right, that was funny, but don't do it again this year. So I know it's really hard for guys to come up with gifts year after year. So I have a couple options.
Perfect.
For dudes who are buying for their mother or their girlfriend or their,
mistress, whatever.
Mistress, yeah. And of course, if you have a mistress, buy her shit, okay? Because that's why she's with you. And this is part of the man's playbook, right?
Oh.
By the way, or no?
Well, no, let's not get to that just yet.
All right. All right. Well, if you guys want foolproof gift ideas,
I like it.
One thing that women really like are pictures.
Yeah, I like personal stuff too.
Personal. And I think when men do something that a woman would put on like a chore list, I know for me, I want to print out pictures and put together a photo album, but that's a big chore. So you guys could go on something like Shutterfly and easily put together an album. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
That's my go-to gift. But that's what I like.
Let's be honest here. You don't get a picture. You get a picture photo if you really like this woman.
Oh yes,
and you're
absolutely.
building a future with her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not like you've been on 2 dates.
Right.
Yeah. that could be kind of because I feel like the first pictures is a big step.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It could be a compilation of all the pictures you took of her that she didn't know you were taking of her that you have in your dark room.
This is you at your office.
Creepy.
Yeah.
This is when I watched you bathing.
Photo Zoom or something. Another thing that's a really good idea, maybe this could be for someone who you're not as familiar with, but a subscription to the California Wine Club. It's one.
That's a big gift.
Well, it's one bottle. No, it's one bottle. They send you a month to your doorstep of their wine. So it's just a great ongoing gift. I mean, that's maybe for a mother-in-law or a mother or something like that.
I feel like that's kind of pricey,
but
too.
I actually don't know the price, but it's somewhat doable. I know actually I talked about them before and they sent me a bottle of wine. Oh, so talk about them on your blog, whatever.
Exactly.
Get it for free.
Seriously.
Yeah. Something that I know I would love if my boyfriend got for me, it's called Birchbox, and it delivers high-end beauty products to your door, again, once a month for a full year.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Do you get to choose what your beauty product is?
I think you can do, like, you can pick and choose what style, like what, if you're, interested in more.
You would want that from a boyfriend, though?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I never go to the store. I never go shopping knowing that I can spend $200 on some products I might never use. It's nice. They're expensive, and they're something that you don't really, women get into a routine with their beauty. And so if you send them something new that they weren't expecting, it opens them up to try something different that they don't have to spend money on. So
just like sex in the bedroom.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Another idea for women, if she's a workout type, Lululemon is
love it.
Great stuff. Men, if you don't know what that is, it's not lemons that like are frou-frou, like sounds like lemon frou-frou.
It's a lemon brush.
It's
she
really,
puts it on.
Yeah.
It's cute yoga gear, workout gear.
Yeah. It's good.
Your ass looks amazing in it.
Yeah. It's really flattering for everyone. So go to Lululemon online or locally if it's even around you. Because I know it's a higher end store, so if you live in a smaller area, it's probably
but it's definitely online for sure.
Some good products are the Wonder Underpant and the Run Swiftly Tech long sleeve.
Oh, I like that. What about for guys who have just started dating a girl? Like, do you get a gift with a girl you've been dating for a month?
Well, of course you get a gift, but
what gift?
You got to be very careful about what you get. Like, you don't want to get jewelry because that's too serious. Yeah. The pictures kind of scares me off too.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to get that. You know what I like? I like gifts, especially when you're just dating somebody that involve a trip somewhere. Or a weekend getaway, or like
You think that's a month in?
But the problem with that if you're just starting to date is that could be taking it
to the next level.
To the next level before you're ready.
Or what if it's like tickets to the zoo or tickets to Disneyland or something fun that you guys could do together?
I don't think I'd like that.
That's more of a
date then.
That's more of a headache. You go to the zoo, you're around a bunch of families that are screaming at their kids with they're acting like monkeys and there's monkeys there. It's just like,
Yeah, I'm not into that.
So you get a gift then?
I think a Yankee Candle would be appropriate there.
Something
like that.
Something generic and tasteful, but I think, what do you guys think about a spa package for a girl you've just kind of started dating? Is that
It depends how much money you have as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends how much money you have. Okay, a couple more and then we're going to get to Goldie.
If you're looking for a gift for a mother, I think a great idea is a beautiful throw from somewhere like Pottery Barn.
Ooh, that's good. Or a spa package. I think that's a good one for a mother too.
Yeah, definitely. But women, like especially mothers, if it's a good mother, or if you had an asshole mother, then she doesn't need this. But, women don't ever feel in their own, they don't feel taken care of and just drenched in something great all the time.
Yeah.
So the blanket and a throw, if men are wondering, don't throw her against the wall. It's a throw, which is a blanket, and they're very luxurious from Pottery Barn.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I have them from there.
And it's especially perfect for winter time because they're just plush and I love them.
Me too. I love that.
Yeah.
Those are good gift ideas.
Thanks. Bath salts always are great. If you guys are looking for a good product, Borghese has great bath salts.
Okay.
Or if you're looking to hallucinate, you could bath salts as well.
If you want to, what did he do? The bath salt guy, he ate a man.
He ate a man's face.
If you guys don't want turkey for Christmas, but you want to eat a man.
Well, this is a real thing?
Salt. Yeah, he smoked bath salts. It's a hallucinogen, and then he ate a man's face.
But they're not actual bath salts. Not like what you put in your bathtub.
Oh,
it's like
so
a
they're
drug.
Fake bath salts.
It's a drug. They just call it bath salts.
That is insane.
I guarantee Mo thought it was actual bath salts.
And he's like trying to do
girlfriends.
Like bath salts, a hell of a drug.
You're just sitting there like, I'm not not hungry for any humans. Kind of feel clean now.
Oh, God, that's disgusting. Well, for this week's chapter in The Man's Playbook, we have Goldie on the phone who is going to tell us all about style and what to wear for the holidays.
Hey, Goldie, welcome to the show.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing, style
I'm
queen?
great.
That's fantastic.
Thank
So I want you to tell the people that are listening a little bit about you, who you are, and why they should listen to you talk about style.
Oh, great. So I'm Goldie. I live in New York. I'm originally from LA where I met Marni. And I have been working within the community for about 6 years now, and I've been styling people, pretty much giving them makeovers, making sure that they look the best that they possibly can. They can either go within their wardrobe that they already have, or they can completely update their wardrobe by shop and sleep.
Yeah. One thing Goldie is really good at is she talks to people before she styles them. She doesn't just have one look that she's like, okay, well, let's just make it look like this.
That would be good.
Yeah. So she talks to them, because most stylists don't do that. She's like, okay, I like this style and I'm going to put you in it. But she's really good at talking to people and figuring out who they are and what works best for them before she actually styles them. And then she works within their own wardrobe too, so you don't have to go spend thousands of dollars. So she's fantastic.
So Goldie, this is Mo here. Let me ask you something. So I'm a dude, and I got this big Christmas party I'm going to where I'm going to see a bunch of friends from high school or this chick I really want to impress. So what am I looking to wear when I go to that party so I look my best and feel my best?
Well, you basically want to always make sure that you look up to date. Basically, what that means for me is a lot of guys that I work with, when they first start with me, they're wearing jeans that they picked up probably 5 years back, and they've been wearing the same shirt, loose, baggy, fitted shirt that's kind of faded.
I'm picturing jeans with a cargo pocket, which is the worst.
Yeah.
Exactly, or with a bunch of fades.
Yes.
Or even worse, like embellishments on the jeans.
I need a puke bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just basically wearing the out-of-date clothing. And I would say the first thing that you need to make sure is if your clothes are fitting you right. And I'll say this time and time again. You want to make sure that right now slim fit is in, and that should be in for a little while. It's been in for a couple years now, and it's still a trend that's lasting. Slim fit, it's pretty much all your clothes need to just be tailored to your body type. I don't want them too tight, too baggy. You just want to make sure your clothes fit you. And also, you want to be shopping at stores that suit your demographic, where, Banana Republic kind of fits, I would say maybe 40 and above. Or Zara. Zara's great. Zara's good for all of the age ranges, and they have clothing that mimics the runway, so they're always very on point with the styles that they're offering. So you want to make sure that you're shopping in the right store. I would say that that's really solid, a solid tip that I hope all of the listeners
Now, would you say
to start shopping at really good at stores? And these stores, you don't have to have $1 million to look good.
We have a lot of listeners who, don't live in, metropolitan areas. And I know, for example, Slim Fit. If a guy in Kentucky went to a Christmas party in something like that, to his peers, he might appear out of place. Would you still say go for it?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Because a woman likes a man who stands out. And if you're going to stand out for the right reasons, even better. I would applaud the man who showed up in a nice GQ-esque, well-fitted suit, among his peers who are wearing those baggy cargo pocket faded jeans. And, a woman will probably just slap herself.
Because he's suddenly a guy of value as well. Oh, I think we lost Goldie. Okay, so we're gonna get her back. So we have some more questions about style, but I would say that that's really important as well. Like, I think that, you know, you can go see somebody like Goldie, and actually you can contact Goldie by writing to style@winggirlmethod.com, and she was gonna tell you this herself, but she's offering 10 free consultations to the first 10 people who write in, which is great. So style@winggirlmethod.com. She's phenomenal. Every time I go see her, she takes me to Zara. We go shopping.
Zara is awesome.
It's amazing. They have really good stylish stuff, and it's not too expensive. Because I will say that, like what she was saying about, you know, the guy in the middle of nowhere going and looking really good, it shows that he has a value. He suddenly stands out amongst everybody else.
And he's also aware of the world around him.
Yeah.
Or not around him.
Yeah.
You know.
And look,
because it does make you look better.
I know how that is. I grew up in Thousand Oaks, small town. Everyone in Thousand Oaks wears a t-shirt, jeans. I'd be the guy walking in looking with like the GQ, wearing the nice, like, you know, a couple layers on my shirt, stuff like that, looking fresh. Yes, you take crap from your guys, but yes, you take notice from the women, and that's what's most important. And for the guys who are listening, like, just think about it, right? You're at a bar. The woman who walks in with like a nice hat on is like the first chick that we all check out and we all notice. We're like, who's that girl in the hat?
Yeah.
And it's because she's different.
She stands out. It looks different.
The ugly one hiding her face.
We actually have Goldie back on the phone. So Goldie,
Sorry about that.
That's
no idea
okay.
What happened.
So I wanted to ask you, why is style such a big part of the first impression? Like, we talk about, you know, how personality is more important than looks, but so then why does it matter what you're wearing? Because a woman should just like you, even if you have like an oversized shirt that says "Eat Me" and 10-year-old baggy jeans. Like, why is it important?
Well, it's important. It's a really big important part of the equation for the first impression, because when you first see someone, all you have to, all you have to judge from is what they see.
First impression, of course.
You also see that they value themselves, that they hold themselves at least to some sort of standard, which means they have a quality of life that would be attractive to be involved in.
That's exactly right.
I get all my information from what not to wear on TLC. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I should probably down.
That's totally true.
Well, so Goldie, what are the 5 essential clothing items that every man must have for right now, no matter what their body type is?
A man purse.
Okay. Well, basically, everyone needs a really great pair of jeans.
Okay.
And you need to have them be current, and they don't need to be a lot of money, but they just need to fit you really well. Every man needs a nice blazer, I would say, something that fits them really well, slim fit, a nice fresh button down. I think all guys need.
Yeah, and the right colors that work for their face too, because a lot of guys wear colors that wash their skin out, and you're really good at helping people with their colors and fit as well. But sorry that I interrupted you, but you can go to places like Nordstrom, and they have dressers there who can help you. So if you want to figure out like what the best jeans are for you, you can ask somebody there, and they'll pick out ones that tell you what fit you the best. Same thing with colors or for blazers, right?
Right.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, and 2 more items.
I just wanted to also say I'm not a fan of guys wearing really bright colors. Usually all the colors, because I have a lot of calls with guys and they send me their pictures in and they're always wearing bright colors and it never seems to work for them. I would say overall guys look really great in black and navy blue and charcoal grays and creams and whites and it's different shades of gray.
Those are very rich-looking colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're classic colors, and they look good on everyone. I mean, and I always ask guys, well, who's your favorite, if you had to pick one celebrity role model for style, who would you pick? And it's usually George Clooney or Brad Pitt or Will Smith. And if you check them out, they look very GQ. They look very classic. They don't go crazy with the colors or the patterns. They're pretty much wearing just nice slacks and a nice sweater or a nice blazer, nice pair of leather shoes. They don't get too crazy with it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen her work miracles. I do boot camps around the world, and typically I have Goldie come and meet me, and they have a full day of styling with Goldie, and like she just runs around Zara or different stores, but usually Zara, that's her go-to because it's not that expensive. And she like transforms these guys. Like literally, I'll come back after she's had half an hour with them. I'm like, oh my god, I would have sex with you. Like they're really freaking good looking afterward. Like they were always good looking before, but this just enhances who they are.
Do you find that the men that you're helping actually understand what you're giving them? You know, it's like teaching a man how to fish.
She educates them as well.
How do I put on this jacket?
Is this a long-term solution for them? Do they really get it?
Yes, they really do. I would say a lot of my clients, they don't have time to shop for themselves, and they actually just would prefer for me to do it, and so I have repeat clients all the time. But I'm also very happy when the client just says, you know what, Goldie, thank you so much. I learned so much from this, and now I know that, for instance, I've been wearing one size too big my whole life.
Right.
Or,
because most guys do
there's
that.
always these little tips that I give them to help them dress better. And I hope that they take this information.
Oh, did she get cut off again? We've lost her again. She's in some cave in New York.
The first time we lost her, it sounded like some sort of like 80s sci-fi movie.
Yeah, like aliens.
Yeah.
I know. Well, just one little thing. She worked with my husband when we were in Chicago, and she got him his first pair of skinny jeans, and he is super sexy in them.
Really?
Yeah, that's
he would
the
have
thing.
never worn them, but he looks so good.
I like the idea of a man working with a stylist because, for example, I can tell my boyfriend 5 million times what fit looks the greatest and the most current. He won't believe me. He's like, I look ridiculous. But if someone actually stepped in who has a legitimate career in this, he would go, okay.
That makes sense. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, she's wonderful. So for the first 10 guys who write into me at style@winggirlmethod.com, get a free half-an-hour consult with Goldie. And it's over Skype, over telephone. Usually you have to send pictures over...
I think she's back. Goldie, you back?
Well, she's back. We don't want to talk to her anymore.
Hold on. I wanted to ask her something.
We're done.
I want to ask her...
I love you guys.
Hold on, Goldie, I want to ask you one last thing, because look, it is winter time, and as men, when it becomes this time of year, it's cold outside, for some reason we just want to grow facial hair, right? This is the time of year we want to have beards, we want to have mustaches.
Mo wants to have hair.
I want to have hair on my head, but I can't grow it.
Is what he's getting at.
Well, no, what I'm getting at is like, what is acceptable facial hair this time of year, and what should we look out for as men?
Good question.
Okay. So I just want to say right off the bat that I'm always going to be a fan of the 5 o'clock shadow or 10 o'clock shadow. I really do not like overly manscaped facial hair. When a guy gets too specific, unless he's going for that vintage, old school look where he is a mustache connoisseur, I don't like a soul patch or
a skinny beard, like a pencil
or
beard.
a skinny beard. It's almost revolting.
It is revolting.
So it really is, and I feel like all women feel the same. And for some reason, men just didn't get that memo.
I think it's because they don't know how to read.
Probably. Because the memo came in. They just didn't read it.
I honestly, I want to get a billboard so that I can always post memos. Like, really? Are people still wearing Crocs? Are you still manscaping your face? Are you still wearing Ed Hardy?
Yes, I know. Horrible.
Get it out,
What is wrong with Ed Hardy?
What about men who are like going bald? Should they? What should they do? Like,
shave it all off. I would say shave it all off, and
the Matt
go for the Bruce Willis look.
Yes.
And if you have the ability to grow facial hair, I say grow like a 5 o'clock shadow or a little beard to kind of
exactly
compensate.
What you are.
I know.
I call it the reverse fade.
People who have. Yeah, I think it looks great. It's definitely a trend, a look happening here where I live in Brooklyn, which is quite trendy.
Very trendy.
And you see a lot of guys with no hair on the top of their head and like wonderful grown out beards, and it's just a great look. I think
sexy.
rock.
Yes, it's man sexy.
And I would suggest is man sexy. If you don't have any hair on top of your head and you have to wear glasses, make sure that you get a really cool pair of glasses. And we're not just talking functional. You need to kind of have a cool pair, something that
eye-catching.
That really kind of not only works with your face, but is eye-catching and kind of makes up for the fact that you don't really have hair. So you can do those things like get really cool eyeglasses or everyone should have the coolest pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm sorry we're going to have to cut you off, but that was wonderful, Goldie. And if you want more information from Goldie, again, the first 10 people that write me in at style@winggirlmethod.com get a free consult with Goldie. So thank you, Goldie, for coming on this show and talking to us.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, next time you're in LA, come out.
Podcast.
Great.
Awesome. All right.
You know what I would love to see would be any of our listeners who have, say, a pencil beard or a soul patch.
Yes.
Or bad accessories. I would love to see a before and after picture.
Oh, me too.
You should send them to ask@askwomenpodcast.com.
Yes.
And let us know the transformation that you made.
Ooh.
And we will show your picture somehow.
Look at this. I love it. Well, coming up next, we have Rich Roll, the fitness guru,
health
basically.
guru, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how to be healthy and how health affects your life with women coming up next. And then we have Analyze This with him as well.
This is an important announcement for anyone with a student loan who is having trouble making their monthly payments. If that's you, pay attention, because there's a special toll-free hotline that has been set up especially for you. So grab a pen and take this number down, or put it in your cell phone. 1-800-652-3707. That's 1-800-652-3707. When you call the National Student Loan Relief Hotline, you will get free information. That's free information to help you relieve the overwhelming financial burden of an ongoing endless student loan. If you are behind, late on payments, or even in default of your student loan, the National Student Loan Relief Hotline can help you. You may also be able to cut your payments in half right away. The National Student Loan Relief Hotline can also stop the harassing phone calls, wage garnishments, and even remove tax liens. The National Student Loan Relief partner companies have helped thousands of people just like you fix their student loan problem. Call 1-800-652-3707 for free information today. That's 1-800-652-3707.
Brandy Glanville, Unfiltered.
There's no advice other than repetition, especially when it comes to interviewing people. Interviewing people that aren't quite as engaging as moi. Interviewing people is quietly a very difficult skill. All you have to do is don't say no. If they say, this guy wants me to do this.
So don't ever say no to men that want me to do things.
That's right. When a man says, do it, you listen.
Hey everyone, it's Brandy Glanville at Brandy Glanville Unfiltered on Podcast One. Be sure to tune in this week. I have Adam Carolla and Nick Prugo from the Bling Ring. It's gonna be interesting. Brandy Glanville Unfiltered at PodcastOne.com.
You're listening to the Ask Women Podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ask Women Podcast. We are here with two very lovely gentlemen
with amazing abs.
Especially the one to my left, which is Norm. But we have a great fitness expert, health expert here, Rich Roll, who's part of the Podcast One family. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I got to tell you before you get into it, I was as I was driving over here, I was listening to your latest podcast.
Oh, really?
You're talking about fetishes and swingers, and I'm like,
that wasn't me.
Maybe I'm going to the wrong studio here. I don't know if I'm a very unlikely guest for your show.
That was our most extreme show.
That was
crazy
awesome.
was that
I was
show?
the color of my shirt during that show.
Oh, and like this the entire time.
Yeah.
Like her cringing the entire time.
Well, it's the Ask Women show. Come on, you got to talk about that stuff.
Of course, right? We want to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to hear about you. So tell us about you and fitness and how you got into this.
Well, wow, where to begin? Well, I guess I'm 47 now, but when I was 39, I was a corporate lawyer working close by in Century City at a Come on, Norm.
To me, I'm
intimidated.
Really young.
I have this incredibly debonair, handsome man sitting to my right over here, Norm Pattis, the boss man here. Yeah, who's making me think twice about what I'm doing.
Continue.
I was a corporate lawyer working at a big law firm in Century City, and and was very focused on my career and, you know, moving up the corporate ladder and like achieving the American dream and all these sorts of things. And you know, during that period of time, I overlooked my health and my fitness. And, you know,
as most people do.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, on the eve of my 40th birthday, you know, kind of turning 40 is that period in your life where you're kind of sort of looking at your life and the decisions you've made. And,
you're like,
and I was like, you know, I was sort of on track to achieve all these things that I'd worked so hard to achieve. And yet at the same time, I had this like hole in my spirit, like I'm not happy. And I looked around at the people that I was working with and I was like, I didn't aspire to be any of them. And I didn't know how to solve this sort of spiritual dilemma that I was having. And at the same time, I had been overlooking my health and my fitness, and very much, you know, I'd been an athlete in college. I was a swimmer at Stanford. And,
oh, wow.
And, but I hadn't sort of, you know, when that was over, that was over. And, you know, had really kind of transformed into a couch potato. I was about 50 pounds overweight. And certainly not like a candidate for The Biggest Loser or anything like that. I just looked like a guy who's like riding up and down the elevator at a law firm and, you know, working 80-hour weeks and eating dinner at the firm every night.
Right.
And, you know, more importantly, just feeling depressed and lethargic and uninspired by life in general. And
I'm finding a lot of similarities between your 40-year-old self and my 30-year-old self.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 30 is another sort of benchmark time where you kind of take stock and inventory of your life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it all kind of came to a head shortly before I turned 40. I had been working late that night, and I came home, and, you know, I'm married. I have 4 kids. I had 3 at the time. But you know, was sort of up late watching late night. Yeah, late
That's
night.
where the depression came from. Yes.
Watching Law and Order reruns and eating. I was a big fan of what a friend of mine calls the window diet. If you can roll down your window and they hand it to you through the window of your car and you eat it, and that's kind of how I subsisted for a long time.
I just like the mouth diet, where I just open my mouth. And
the mouth diet.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. You know, just that night, I was dozing off in front of the TV, went up the stairs to go to sleep, up to my bedroom, and had to pause halfway up the staircase, like winded, out of breath, buckled over, sweat on my brow, tightness in my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, like what is wrong with me? Like I'm being defeated by a simple flight of stairs. And it was a really scary moment. And that was a moment, you know, a very sort of vivid moment in my life where I realized like I needed to take stock and inventory of how I was living and make some significant, immediate changes. And that was what kind of really began this journey that I've been on for the last 7 years.
Do you think a lot of people have to hit that point where it feels like the point of no return to make the changes?
I don't think that you have to, but I think in my experience, you know, pain is really the only true motivator that gets people to change their behavior patterns. And, you know, people will say all the time, like, oh, people don't change. And well, you know, I guess there's some truth to that. You know, I changed. Lots of people change. I get emails every day from people that have made radical changes in their diet. So
if you're Italian, you can't change.
If you can't,
well,
certain things
no one
you
in my
can't
family
change.
can change.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, having an aha moment, like having, whether it's hitting a bottom, you know, in addiction, which is another sort of experience that I've had, those moments are very precious and important and can really change the trajectory of your life forever. But you don't have to have those moments. I think at any point in your life, you can stop and make a decision to do things differently. That power resides within all of us all the time.
So what did you do to start actually changing?
What did you start?
What were those steps you took?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you I went to the library and watched a bunch of documentaries and read a bunch of books about how to live better. I kind of was finding my way in the dark. And what I did was, the first thing I did was I did a 7-day fruit and vegetable juice cleanse. My wife is she's a yoga practitioner and a meditator and always into kind of expanding her horizons and growing, you know, interpersonally and spiritually. And that was great for her, but that was not my thing. You know, I'm like the logic guy. I'm the lawyer guy. I'm the Ivy League educated guy, and I know what's best, and you can't tell me what to do. And, of course, I always, you know, you want to stay married, you support your spouse, and you know, and that was cool for her, but that was never really my thing. So the first thing I did was I said to her, you know, I really think I want to try that sort of, juice cleanse thing that you did. And that was she looked at me oddly, like it was almost as if I said, you know, the dress and the high heels in the closet, like
let me try it on.
I'm going to wear those to the party tonight. It was very, very out of character for me, you know, junk food junkie guy.
It's out of character for a lot of us.
Yeah.
It's out of character for you, too, even though I think you'd look smashing in high heels.
Yeah. I'm not against the idea.
No, I have a lot of friends that have gone through the cleanse. I've thought about it, but it's so scary for me because around day 2, I look at them, they're like, I feel like I'm going to pass out.
But day 3, they say, I feel absolutely amazing, totally energized, and it's awesome.
But day 2, I might murder someone. Like, it would be that bad for me. Right. I don't want to risk that.
You might. But overall, you're saying that you changed your life completely starting with this juice cleanse, and then that got you onto other things?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The cleanse was a frightening thing, but I also I'm a recovering alcoholic. I spent 100 days in a rehab many years ago.
Wow.
So, like, weathering a detox is familiar territory for me. Right. So I knew, the first 2 days, like, I felt exactly like that. I felt horrible, but by day 3, felt a little better. And suddenly, like, by the end of the week, I felt amazing. I couldn't believe how good I felt in such a short period of time. And what it really told me was just how resilient the human body is.
Yeah.
That after, decades, years of drug and alcohol abuse, poor diet, poor lifestyle, that in such a short period of time, you really can completely change how you feel. And so that kind of set in motion this search for, how to continue to feel that good. And that led me to adopting a 100% plant-based diet. Like, I eat a vegan diet.
Oh, really?
That is something, again, that's another thing I never would have thought. And I'm like the last person in the world who would be like a quote-unquote vegan.
Jeez, you look so much better than Bill Clinton.
So, although he looks a lot better than he did,
He does. I'm paleo. So I do paleo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for people who are listening, paleo is the caveman diet, which is vegetables, fruits, beans, nuts, and meat.
I'm what's in the fridge diet. I'm too lazy to get...
No, you're the mouth diet, I thought.
Exactly. Stop changing your diet. Well, I want to talk to you about, like, health and women, because obviously, this is the Ask Women podcast. So how does your health affect you with women?
I think your health affects everything. It affects how you feel about yourself first and foremost. And I think that in the context of relationships, whether you're in a long-term relationship or you're looking to date people or whatever, there's a lot of people out there who are sort of, whether it's men or women, thinking, if I can just find that right person, that'll fix me, or my life will improve and I'll be better. And what they're missing is that the real way, the best way to find the best right partner for you is to work on yourself.
Absolutely.
Water rises to its own level, and you need to be that beacon of light that attracts the energy that is appropriate for you. So rather than trying to find that other person to complete you, complete yourself. And that starts with what you eat and how you move your body and how you conduct yourself throughout the day, and the prism through which you perceive the world, your attitude. Like, when you're eating well, when you're treating yourself right, that is an esteemable act, and self-esteem comes through repetitive performance of esteemable acts, right? So the better you feel about yourself, then that's the vibe you're putting out. It's like you're an antenna and you're sending out this message, and you're going to attract like-minded people into your life.
Absolutely. And I even know for myself, because I've eaten a very clean diet over the past probably 5 years, maybe even 10, like, been very aware of what foods do to my body. But I know that when I do eat certain foods, which I don't even eat poor foods anymore, I get depressed, I get moody, I'm lethargic. I know that what I'm putting out there to the world is not exactly attractive. So I know that when I am eating better, I attract more people into my life because I feel better overall. And
well, it's
have
like
more positive
trying to get
attitude.
out on the dance floor with bricks on your feet. Not eating in a healthy lifestyle.
And I think nowadays we're in this weird place right now where it's never been easier to eat healthy. We have all these crazy healthy options. I mean, especially living in Los Angeles. I mean, forget about it. But at the same time, there is this proliferation of horrible foods. The grocery stores now are all the size of Walmart, and it's not because they're selling more bananas and oranges. It's because there are so many processed foods to choose from, all those middle aisles in the grocery store. And a lot of these foods are specifically designed. There's a lot of money and marketing and science that goes into designing these foods to specifically activate the pleasure centers in your brain that create an addictive response, a habitual addictive response that enslaves you to eating these foods that are draining your energy, they're creating inflammation, they're leading to disease,
but
obesity,
is it that,
all
or
of
is
these
it that
things.
They just taste delicious?
Well, that's why, they taste delicious, and you get that sort of synaptic, kind of hormonal endorphin
if I have
response,
sugar.
and you want it again. Yeah, whether it's sugar or fat or salt. There's an incredible book that came out recently called Salt, Sugar, Fat by by a guy called Michael Morris. It was on the New York Times bestseller list, and it goes into detail. It sort of pulls the covers on the big food industry and sort of analyzes it from the perspective of kind of how you would break down the tobacco industry maybe 20 years ago, and how these companies are really trying to figure out, like, how can we create these foods that just make people just have to have it.
Well, my doctor said to me, he's like, the way that people talk about cigarettes now are how people are going to talk about sweeteners in 5 years. Because, like, I don't even want to go into it. But at the beginning of the show, we were talking about my friend's documentary called OMG GMO. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
It's fantastic. You should go see it. And I saw it last night. Yeah. But it's talking about genetically modified organisms and all those foods that are in the center of the grocery store. They're jam-packed with GMOs, even at Whole Foods. But yeah, what they can do to your body. And inflammation is huge right now and causing so many.
One major sponsor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love Whole Foods.
If anybody's listening from Whole Foods, we also represent Adam Carolla. He loves Whole Foods.
They're starting to label now. I go to Whole Foods twice a day, so I'm not knocking Whole Foods, but they're going to start labeling their foods, which is fantastic, so that people are aware if they're consuming GMOs. But I think it's really interesting. So what are 5 things that men, even everybody that's listening to us right now, but that men can do to improve not their overall health, but just like to get it started, to improve their health so they can start attracting more women into their lives as well?
5 things. Wow, the pressure's really on.
Or 3. Let's go with 3. I don't want to put too much on you.
Well, I think the first thing is, I mean, you know, it's like you were saying, you eat a paleo diet, I eat a vegan diet, and like on my podcast, we have all these arguments, paleo versus vegan, all that kind of stuff. But we're losing the big picture, which is that most people are, you know, out in the world are like eating a Taco Bell and McDonald's on a daily basis. Forget about paleo or vegan. So I think the first thing is to eat whole foods, you know, and not whole foods.
Which means what?
Which means eating foods the way nature has created them, you know, eating fresh fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, seeds, these things.
Well, a lot of people talk about the expense of eating a lifestyle, having a lifestyle like that. Is that true? Is it more expensive to eat that way?
It can be. And, you know, they call Whole Foods Market whole paycheck for a reason. It's very expensive. And so I think that scares a lot of people off. And it becomes a socioeconomic issue, especially in the context of looking at farm subsidies and how cheap it is to produce grain and corn. And that sort of filters down into why McDonald's and Taco Bell, you know, are so cheap. And it's hard to sort of argue with a family that's on a very tight budget. Says you want to eat all these foods.
Later are not cheap.
I know, but that doesn't motivate people. You know what I mean? It's sort of the long-term goal. The truth is that you can get Whole Foods quite cheaply. You just don't go to Whole Foods Market.
Yeah, you go
to farmers markets, and if you have to, you can find, you know, there's a market that I love to go to deep out in the valley here called Vallarta, and I did an experiment once. I made a video out of it. I went to Whole Foods and they had those Blueprint juices. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're like really high end, and they're just, I mean, you could make that juice at your house for like 10 cents, right? But they charge $12 for like a 12-ounce thing of juice. So I said, I wonder how much produce I could buy for the price of 2 of those Blueprint juices. And I went to this Vallarta market, and I filled an entire shopping cart full of produce for $25. So there are ways to do it, and I think it's an excuse to say, oh, it's too expensive. I mean, you can buy a giant sack of rice and beans and, you know, cook for 2 months, and what would that cost you? $10 or something like that. So there are certainly ways around it, that, you know, so you're not going to be able to go buy some fancy superfoods and all the, you know, spirulina and chlorella and all these kinds of, you know, acai and all these things, but you don't have to do that. Let's start with the basics first. And I think people tend to overcomplicate it and try to make it confusing and create marketing schemes around it. So that would be the first thing, is just get rid of all this processed food you're eating, whether it's the sodas or the candy bars or the chips and the crackers, and just try to eat whole foods.
Right.
Yeah. Great tip.
Now, if I'm that guy who is interested in eating healthy but still wants his In-N-Out on Sundays, can I do that? Can I only do this like healthy diet 3-4 days a week and then cheat 3 days a week?
Well,
just call it cheating.
I have I have an interesting perspective on that maybe isn't super popular. I mean, people love to have their bad habits sort of co-signed, and sort of the cheat day thing is very popular right now with a bunch of diets, whether it's the slow carb diet or what have you. And my perspective on that is that you know, it gets into a complicated thing about microbes and your GI tract and all of that. But if you want to truly be free from those cravings, you have to break that cycle. You know what I mean? Like if you're
like, you only live once.
right
kind of thing. Can you have, do you still get pleasure, the same type of pleasure from eating something that's so
I can
healthy?
tell you that I do, and I'm the biggest junk food junkie ever, and I don't think about it anymore. I mean, that doesn't mean that once in a while when I smell something, I don't crave it, but I don't obsess about it. And I try to sort of always talk from my own personal experience, and my experience has been that if I allowed myself to have a cheat day and I could eat in and out like one day a week, and that day was Sunday, I'd spend Monday through Saturday thinking about that day that I'm going to go. And then I'm distracted from my day. You know what I mean? But if I cut it out, maybe I have a couple weeks of discomfort, but now I don't think about it anymore. And so I'm not a prisoner to that craving.
I tried to do the cheat day before, when I was on a very rigid diet, and Sunday was my cheat day, and I would binge. And it became really unhealthy because I would hold everything I was not allowed to eat Monday through Saturday. Could not eat it, don't even think about it, and I was torturing myself. Sunday was the worst day of the week because I couldn't get enough of it.
And why would you, if you're treating yourself so well during the week, why would you permit yourself to poison yourself one day a week? You know what I mean? It'd be like one day a week I pour sand into my into my car, into the gas tank, you know? So, but I'm kind of an extreme personality, and I realize most people aren't like that. I think that it begs an interesting sort of question, though, which is this idea of failure or perfection, or calling it a cheat day as opposed to a freedom day or something like that. I mean, words are very important and they carry a lot of power. And I think that what trips up a lot of people when it comes to healthy eating habits is this idea of perfection. Like they'll eat really well, and then they'll have a weak moment, and they're, digging their head into a pint of Ben & Jerry's, and then they go into a shame spiral, and then they say, well, I can't do it. It was too hard. Forget it. I'll just, eat the way I always would because this is impossible for me. I can't live up to this standard that either society has set for me or that I've set for myself. And I think you have to change the perspective on that and look at it like, oh, well, hey, that was interesting that I ate that pint of Ben & Jerry's. What's going on with me emotionally? Like, what were the things that I was doing that kind of led to that choice that doesn't serve me, and how can I learn from that, and let's make the next right choice. And don't beat yourself up or, get all depressed because you made a choice that, ultimately might not have been the right one for you at that moment. We're human beings. We're fallible. We're designed to make mistakes,
So I got a question.
All right.
Before I get out of here, because I'm adding absolutely nothing to this. And I actually only came in because I like to, watch you guys work.
Wonderful.
You're so attractive.
He's talking about Mo.
Yes. No, Mo.
I love it.
Yes. You're not part of that group, but you probably are very attractive to a lot of people.
to women and gay men.
Yes. This is Ask Women after all. So, Rich, I want to talk about your role, no pun intended. Okay? You've now got this hugely successful podcast. You're a role model for a lot of people. People listen to what it is that you're saying. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people who are listening to this podcast right now are going to want to listen to your podcast because they're interested in the subject matter. What kind of special responsibility do you feel? How is being kind of a, to use an outdated phrase, guru, or advisor, or, somebody who's espousing a particular way of life that's good for you. How has that changed who you are, and what kind of responsibility do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's hard being the ultimate human being.
Gosh, don't
tell me about it. It's so hard.
I know.
No, it's a great question. I think that the reason that I've been able to develop a listenership and a following for the kind of things that I'm putting out there is because my first and only rule is to be and remain authentic, to not be sort of trying to, if I start to think about all the people that are listening, then I start to edit myself and I start to think, oh, well, I shouldn't say that because that might, bum out these people, or, if I say this, then, these are the kind of comments that I'm going to get. As it relates to
Nora's so pissed at me for making that comment. So I think we'll never have them as a sponsor.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why podcasts are ascending and are becoming so popular is because people are starving for real conversation. They want to hear real people.
And for real food.
They're tired of the sound bites. They're for real They're tired of the sound bites. They want, and you see somebody on, whatever late night show it is, and it's like, it's such a canned thing. There's nothing authentic about it. So there's something really beautiful and powerful about sitting down and just having a real conversation. I think that is really kind of the most important thing about the whole thing.
Well, everyone that's listening, definitely check out Rich's. Thank you, Norm.
Thanks,
we'll see you later. Check out
Norm, you going to be on my podcast?
Based upon this performance, if you feel like I would be worthy of it.
I'd love to have you.
He's the new co-host.
Good to see you.
Exactly. Yeah. But yes, people should check out your podcast. And it's not about like preaching to people to be a vegan. It's about educating them on healthy lifestyles. Yeah. And so for the people that are listening, in terms of health, when it comes to women and sex, like healthy people are just more attractive. I'm not saying super skinny, abs of steel, but I'm saying people who can walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing, without sweating. When
we have very low standards for what's attractive.
Yeah,
I was saying before,
you got blood flow. You could keep going.
Exactly.
You could last.
But it helps in the bedroom because I'm not sure if I said this like off the air, but when my husband started eating paleo and being healthier, because he would have the up and downs that you're talking about as well. 3 months really good, then 4 months really bad. 3 months really. It's because he's a producer, so he goes on shoots and he can't choose what he eats in his mind, but now he knows how to. So now he's made it into a lifestyle for himself. And our sex life is fantastic. His energy levels are up. His weight's down. He feels better about his body. His confidence is through the roof. And he has a much more clear mind. And that for him includes like eating healthy, but also having fun as well and not shaming himself when he does slip up or whatever you want to call it. Making the wise choices and smarter choices. So prearranging food now for himself. And just overall, like, working out and putting efforts towards his body and his future life. That's super sexy to me, and I know for him it's super sexy. So that combination together just makes it wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that you touched on something that's really important too, which kind of relates to what Norm was talking about. Why do you think that people listen to you, or what do you think? Where do you think the power lies? And I think a big part of it is not preaching or talking down to people. You meet people where they're at. You share your experience. You root it in your own experience, and you try to create, welcome, open conversation about certain things without sort of pointing the finger and saying you should do that or you should do that. It's certainly not my place to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do.
But just educate them, and I love that you're doing that. But I want you to stick around because we're gonna answer some questions now from listeners. So we have a segment that's called Analyze This, and if anybody wants to write in questions to us, write them to ask@askwomenpodcast.com. Please make sure you have an interesting subject line that pertains to what you're writing about, because that will make us answer it much faster. And actually, we're going to start doing episodes that are strictly Analyze This, so that we can answer more of these questions because they are just piling up right now. But that's coming soon in the new year.
But before we get to that, I want to ask Rich one really crucial question, because this is a holiday episode. What do you suggest around the holidays for eating?
Right. That's a great question. I just put my wife actually just wrote a blog post on this very subject that went up on my site today. The holidays are so, it's not always so popular to kind of talk about it openly, but, for a lot of people, the holidays they're incredibly stressful. There's a lot of anxiety that surrounds them. There's pressure to spend a bunch of money. There's pressure to show up in social situations that maybe, otherwise you might not attend, and, sort of emotionally charged family situations and all these sorts of things. And it creates this mad brew that can really make people insane, right? And so I think that it's really important to make sure that you dial in your nutrition during this period of time so you can be firing on all cylinders. And again, it goes back to, there's no magic bullet. It's like eat foods that nourish your body. I always say if you can do one thing, to kind of change your experience, like start your day rather than having, pancakes and bacon and eggs for breakfast. Why don't you start with like a green smoothie, like a kale and spinach and pineapple smoothie, or a fresh juice in the morning instead, and just pay attention to how that makes you feel. That one thing alone could be a very powerful thing, so it's about making sure that you're fortified, when you go into these sort of perilous social situations. And I always bring like a green smoothie with me in the car in a thermos. And when I have to go to a restaurant, or I'm going to go to a dinner party or someplace where I don't know that they're going to have the kind of food that I sort of want or need, I'll take a hit off that. I go in and I feel good. My energy's good. I'm not starving. So then I'm less likely to make the unhealthy choice.
I have a quick tip actually that I adhere to, and so does my husband. I have portion control so that I don't, gorge myself. So that if I do want something, I'll have a little bit of everything that I want a taste of. And then a huge thing for me, because before I would go to a lot of holiday parties and I would have like really fun cocktails. It's a long time ago. But now either I'll have wine or I'll have some sort of spirit with soda water, not tonic water. Or if I'm at some place that has like organic juices to mix with, then I'll mix it with some sort of juice, just a splash, but try and stay away from sodas, regular or diet, because they're both not healthier options.
Now you're just being anti-American.
I know, seriously, right? People are going to hate me after this episode. But yeah, just make wise choices.
You guys are the bah humbug of the holidays.
I know.
Yeah, it's like I go there. There's all these different foods I've never had before, and I'm like, I don't have deviled eggs ever. I'm gonna have that. I never have Rice Krispie treats. I'm gonna have that.
I think the other.
Then enjoy yourself at the holidays. I really want to get to these questions. I'm so sorry, but okay. But we're going on for so long.
I'm just getting warmed up.
But it's great. I love it. I think it's amazing information, and people should definitely listen to your podcast, the Rich Roll podcast.
Yes,
Okay. Hey, girls. First off, thank you for everything you do. I've been reading your blog. Oh, this is for me. Reading your blog and supporting what you do for a while now. I need your advice. I recently just got a new job, and I have a coworker who is older than me. I am 23. She is 29, and I can tell she is attracted to me. She is regularly complimenting me as well as playfully teasing me about my personality or things I do. I have off and on teased her and complimented her as well, along with some physical touch. On the other hand, she is currently in a relationship, and as far as I can tell, they live together, but I'm not 100% sure. How should I go about this whole situation? I'm attracted to this woman and can see myself with her, but I don't want to be the douche that ruined her potential great life, especially because we work together. This is driving me crazy because I'm thinking about it every day. Zach.
Well, he could start with reading an email to her.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's like, it seems to me he should just have a conversation with her.
He totally could, but to be honest, I think she's just flirting for fun. She's just...
Look, it depends. She's 29, right? So, first of all, don't worry about ruining her perfect life, because if her life is really perfect, she's not going to be flirting with you.
She wouldn't be working.
She's getting...
Her life was really
yeah, but obviously she's not getting some sort of attention at home, so she's coming to you for that attention.
Or she's just being friendly. Some people misread it.
Okay. As a once 29-year-old last year, not too long ago, I think she was flirting with him as a little brother. This is going to sound really creepy, but it's like a little brother thing. I went out with a kid a few years ago, or many years ago now, actually, at this point. He was a lot younger than me, and I think it was because he was fun, and I knew it wasn't serious, and I think that it's just a no commitment thing for her. So
I completely agree with you, actually. I would say, go have fun with someone, flirt with her. And if it does progress, let it progress naturally. But I would never, she lives with her boyfriend. I don't think she's actually flirting with you. And if she is, then you'll discover that later on down the road. But for right now, I would say practice with her, have fun flirting, like very healthy, safe flirting where you can go a little bit overboard every once in a while, and let her have her fun. And if she wants to take it further, she'll kind of let you know. And I would say to focus on other women and not put all your eggs in one basket with this woman. I've been this girl.
Take her out to happy hour a couple times. And then once the drinks start flowing, then
see what happens.
Then write us.
If anyone goes to happy hour with Mo, it's like sad hour.
Yeah, but he's 23. Okay, not that I'm like putting his age down, but at 23, I think sometimes you can misinterpret what flirting is, especially if she's a 29-year-old who's in a committed relationship where she's living with her boyfriend. So, because I don't hear about like her, pulling him aside and saying I want to have sex with you, but she's probably flirting and teasing.
She's bored
and playing around a little bit, having fun at work. That's what I think is going on. Mo's like, no, she wants it.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Get after it, Zach.
At least from this description, that's not what
If he starts drinking the Cal shakes, things could change.
It could.
And his antenna will be finely tuned to these signals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next question. My name is Josh, and I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. During the past summer, I asked the podcast for advice in regards to asking out my best friend of 7+ years, who I started developing feelings for. I asked her on a date, but she still was not over her boyfriend at the time, and said she would have said yes if that wasn't the case. Here I am a few months later, again asking for advice about the same girl. Over the past few months, I started to slowly fall for her more and more. She knows exactly how I feel about her, as I have expressed to her. The main problem, she does not have that romantic spark about me, and she does not know why. We have discussed it from time to time, and she has told me that she wants to share the same feelings for me as I feel for her. This is a genuine wish on her part and not a polite way of saying back off. Everything she wants in a man, she believes I possess those attributes. Is there anything I can do that may potentially ignite that spark that's lacking on her behalf? Josh. I'm looking at Mo.
Chemistry, attraction is something that you can't really create.
I think he can.
I think he can.
That's
too.
true. That's true.
I think
You're like, now I go back to everything.
I think she's just not that into him.
I think she's not that into them because they're best friends, and it sounds like he's following her.
There's
and
an
just
imbalance. There's an imbalance here.
It's like he's not taking the lead and being manly and showing her the attractive
exactly,
side.
and it's way too easy for her right now. It's like his cards are out there, and he needs to stop beating those cards over the head. Because, well, I'm just saying, like, this seems to be the only conversation he could have with her. Is like they go a couple months. I really, really like you. No, we're just friends. Go a couple months. You know what? Go find other women that you find attractive. Start going on dates with other women.
Start talking about them.
Start talking about them with her. Get your confidence up. Don't look at her as anything but a friend. And
exactly. Like a real friend. So I talk about the friend zone all the time.
Yeah.
And the friend zone is really like the fake boyfriend zone, because what men are doing when they're in this friend zone is they're just pleasing women. They're being the fake boyfriend, showing them how wonderful they are. Yeah. But in the beginning stages, before you get to be the boyfriend, you have to be like the lover, the seducer, the excitement guy. And I don't think that guy's there with the two of them.
If she was into him, whether she was getting over her boyfriend or not, she would have jumped on it.
Yes, exactly.
So
If you were igniting that spark in her, she would have been doing stuff to you. So I would say go to my website, winggirlmethod.com, and get my program, How to Become the Man Women Want, because that actually will give you step-by-steps on how to take that to the next level, so that you're not just seen as this like friend who's really good to talk to and cry on your shoulder, but you're seen as like this sexy, edgy guy who can spark her attraction, but also be a really good friend for her. So it's like that nice balance that I think she's looking for.
You know what? Like, be a good friend for her, but don't be there every time she calls you and needs you, because that's a way that these women try and control us.
I call it nice guy manipulation, because a lot of guys do that. They're like, oh, I'll be really nice and show her I can listen to her and not really state my opinion and call her out on stuff. So that's nice guy manipulation.
For women, I call it have their cake and eat it too.
But why is that for women?
Because they get the guy for their emotional benefit, and the guy gets none of the physical needs that he needs.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
Well, that's why Josh
takes two to play that game.
It does take two.
It does, but what is she supposed to do? Say, oh, I know you really want this, so I'm not going to be friends with you anymore? Why is it her job?
I'm just saying, Josh needs to realize that he's playing this emotional boyfriend until she finds another guy who just comes in and...
But she's throwing a few breadcrumbs here and there to keep him on the hook.
Whole wheat breadcrumbs, hopefully.
What's that?
Whole wheat breadcrumbs, hopefully.
Gluten-free breadcrumbs.
Exactly. Grain-free, paleo bread. Hey, ladies and Mo, love you all and love the podcast. I'll keep this short and sweet. I love people like this. I wanted to follow up on your boobs podcast. I noticed that all of you were erring on the side of gentle touch. However, the girl I'm currently dating actually prefers a lot of pressure and even biting, pinching of the nipple. I guess what I'm asking, is that normal? I find that she prefers a lot of pain during sex, and I'm worried about hurting her. Thanks again.
Is there any other way?
There you go. Honestly, well, we talked about that too, about switching it up. It's like nice to be gentle, but yeah, every once in a while, like, you gotta grab it. And I wouldn't say to like bite, because I don't like that, but you have to work with who you're working with and see.
I wonder if she has fake boobs. Because
she can't feel it?
Because some women who have fake boobs like it really rough because they don't feel it. It's like,
but some women who don't have fake boobs like it really rough because they do feel it.
I just think some people might have a different level of nerve endings, in their those kinds of organs. I don't say the actual terms of boobs and
in their. What did you call it before for a vagina? In their middle. In their middle. You weren't here for that. That's what I grew up in their middle.
I grew up in a shameful family. But yeah, I think there's different nerve endings, and so it might take her more to feel anything.
But
I think so too.
This might be an overall deeper issue, because I've dated women who like to be physically abused during sex.
Yeah. I know women who like to be physically abused.
For me, to be honest with you, it's emotionally scary for me.
Okay, so then you shouldn't be doing it.
Because I enjoy like a passionate, consensual, caregiving type of sexual situation Whereas I feel like people like that, they're just not my type. And a problem like this could become a bigger problem down the road if you're with this person long term.
Well, he's not saying he has issue with. Oh, wait, did he say that?
Well, yeah.
I'm worried I'm hurting her.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, because a guy who's not worried about that is just straight slapping him and choking her.
Well, the thing is,
then you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it.
If she gets angry at him afterwards, she could report him.
And that's another thing.
I know a lot of guys are paranoid
I know
about
that happens a lot, too.
Well,
you
that's
put
why
a
you have
bruise
to
on a
talk.
woman and all of a sudden she's unhappy with you. You're in trouble.
Yeah. That's trash, though. So if
You put a bruise on a woman.
If she's a nice person, she wouldn't do that.
Okay,
They
hey
could have a
ladies
safe
and
word.
Mo. Exactly.
Yeah.
They have to
Safe
talk.
word, I
They have
like
to talk
that.
about it. And if he wants to understand it,
Middle.
he needs to ask her more questions about it. Because if it's not his thing, then he has to understand it more. So ask questions, be inquisitive, get to know the person whose nipples you're biting. Hey ladies and Mo, I've been listening for a while. However, I never hear any topics about me. Look, Mr. Mopey. I'm a 27-year-old married man, and it seems that all the info here is geared towards single men and women. Well, I appreciate that you've been, still listening, even though it's not directed at you. But I hope I'm wrong and that you guys would actually have info for married guys as well. I've already approached my wife, got her phone number, kiss, and etc. Now I want to know how to keep her. Tyrone, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
How do you keep your wife happy?
So wait, I'm confused. He's married.
He is married.
He wants to hang on to his wife.
He wants to keep that relationship alive. So you've had a long relationship. What do you do?
I mean, implicit in that question, it seems to be a fear that maybe he's losing her somewhat.
Yeah. So
Right.
what do you do to keep it up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with my wife for 15 years, and we've been married 10. So I think that it's really important to never be on cruise control, and it's very easy to be on cruise control, and I certainly do it or whatever.
If you're on cruise control and you're going like 10 miles an hour too, that's going to get boring.
Yeah, well, it's going to get boring, and there is no stasis in life, whether it's a relationship or anything else, right? You're either progressing towards something better or you're regressing towards something worse. And I think having that awareness at all times in your marriage or your relationship is important. So, what are the little things that you can do that you can turn the volume up on to sort of pay attention, or, plan special things, or it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm, buying you flowers, or we're going to go on a holiday or something like that. It's just sort of during the day, sort of being present and tuned in to your partner and their needs and their emotional kind of biorhythms.
Does anyone think that it has to do with going back to things that got you together in the first place, or is that cliche?
No, it's not cliche. This is the thing. I think a lot of people in marriages forget to play their masculine and feminine role, as you were calling it, getting into cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of women tend to also take on the masculine role in the relationship later on in the marriage, especially when kids come around. Because I don't want to blame men, but a lot of men forget to think for the we. And the woman's always thinking, not always, not every single woman, but is thinking for the we. And that creates a lot of tension and creates nagging and creates unattraction, and that's where the sex drive sort of goes away. So I like what you were saying about like really just being present. And I think for men especially, it's thinking what would make my significant other happy today. Okay, I'll send a text, or I will send flowers, or you know what,
I won't send a text,
or I won't. Right. Or you know what, I'll call on my way home and say I'm driving by the grocery store. Do you need anything? I'm going to stop there. What can I do to help? Like, just things like that really help as well. And then also taking time separate from your normal lives where you have date night and you really acknowledge that the person sitting across from you is a sexy, attractive woman who's still super feminine. And for women who are listening, to look at your husband or boyfriend and just realize like how awesome and wonderful he is and just appreciate him. If you do that every single day or at least every single week, I think that really helps.
I like what Rich was saying with the stasis. Like, nothing is ever the same. And I know for me, if it feels the same, I am annoyed, grossed out, depressed. And so I think them discussing what's to come to give something to look forward to is really important. Because if you feel like you're married and then that's it, that's tough. That's a tough road. So give yourself stuff to look forward to.
We should have a whole episode about this because this is like a grand question, but I think we can get into more specific things that you can do to reignite that spark and sort of.
I think it all goes back to keeping communication open and being in constant communication, because I think that if you turn the volume down on the communication, that's when you start to kind of get resentments, and you're not communicating those resentments. And then you have this whole thing of wanting your partner to be different than they are, and like wanting them to change, whether it's the woman wanting the guy to do something different or vice versa. And you have to get into a place where you're accepting your partner exactly as they are. And that doesn't mean that, you can't aspire for them to improve in certain areas, but you really need to be conscious of why you fell in love with them and accept that person exactly the way they are, and give them the respect and space to be that person.
Absolutely. Great answers. I think that's all the time that we have. We have more questions, but we're not going to get to them today. We'll get to them next time. But if you want to ask questions, write into Ask Women Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter Ask Women Podcast. Go to our website, askwomenpodcast.com. See, it's all like in the same.
It's all redundant.
It's all very easy. And you can check out Rich Roll. His podcast is on PodcastOne. That's PodcastOne.com. And where else can they find you?
Yeah, so it's the Rich Roll Podcast. You can find it wherever you find podcasts. And my website's richroll.com. And I'm on Twitter at richroll and all those places.
Do you do any personal coaching or anything like that?
No, I don't do any one-on-one stuff.
He's a guru. There's no time for that.
Gurus don't have time for that.
It's all about the podcast. Too much podcasting for that, right?
Seriously. Well, thank you so much for being on our show and for educating us, because I think this is a really helpful episode. We don't typically do episodes like this, so thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, you guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time. Cool. Download new episodes of our podcast every Thursday on PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com. See you next time.